Let's discuss the last result of algebra of partial derivatives. So here we have to prove derivative of f upon g. We are already familiar with derivative of u upon v, which we have studied in 12th standard. Derivative of u upon v, what is its formula? V into derivative of u minus u into derivative of v upon v square, right? So actually I have written a same formula here. Derivative of f upon g is equal to g into derivative of f minus f into derivative of g divided by g square. Same thing we have. So this thing we have to prove now. What will I do? I will start with given thing. Okay. So just a minute. I will write. We have. See what we have. We have these two partial derivatives exist. Deva f by deva xi of a and deva g by deva xi of a exist for I running from 1 to n. So both partial derivative exist, so I can apply definition here. By definition. So definition of partial derivatives, what can I write here? This is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h. I am adding h in ai because we are taking derivative with respect to I. So that's why I am adding h in ith component n minus f of a1, a2 and so on n divided by h. I will call it as equation number 1. Let us apply the definition for second derivative. Deva g by deva xi and a is equal to limit h tends to 0. Same definition. G of a1, a2, ai plus h and so on n minus g of a1, a2 and so on n divided by h, equation number 2. So using given information we could write these two equations. After that we will start for actual proof, but before that I suggest you to make a screenshot of it. Let us start with left hand side. So we'll follow the definition. Definition says this is limit h tends to 0 f upon g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n minus f upon g a1, a2 and so on n whole divided by h. So if there is a product of two functions, we operate separately. So here we have a division, so we'll operate separately obviously. So this is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n divided by g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n. Here I have operated f and g separately. There also I will operate f and g separately. So f of a1, a2 and so on n divided by g of a1, a2 and so on n whole divided by h. See, now I am going to cross multiply product of these two minus product of these two divided by these two. So this is equal to limit h tends to 0. I am writing that 1 by h here since we will not have enough space to write. So I am writing that 1 by h here and let us cross multiply. So f of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n minus product of these two g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into f of a1, a2 and so on n divided by. So at denominator we have to write the product of these two denominators. G of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n. After that we need to adjust two terms here, okay, to bring a required result. So I will trying to do limit h tends to 0. First of all I will copy this 1 by h here, right? I will write the first term as it is, f of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n g of a1, a2 and so on n. See, I'm going to subtract, okay? What I'm going to subtract, f of a1, a2 and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n. See, I'm adjusting this term, that's why I need to, when I subtract, I need to add somewhere. So I'm adding also plus f of a1, a2 and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n. After that, okay, I have written the first term as it is. I have adjusted this term, subtracted, added. Now I need to write last term minus g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into f of a1, a2 and so on n whole divided by getting. So only I wrote numerator first. We need to write denominator now. G of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n. No more spaces there, so you can make a screenshot of it. After that we will continue. Let us continue. So this is equal to, see, now I am going to do many things. In numerator I am going to take some common part, as well as I am going to apply this limit separately for numerator and denominator. See what will happen. Limit is equal to limit h tends to 0 1 by h. See, if you are thinking about numerator, what can we take common from first two terms? We can take common g of a1, a2 and so on n. That thing we can take common. So g of a1, a2 and so on n in bracket first term minus second term. Okay, that one. So f of a1 and so on ai plus h and so on n minus f of a1 and so on n. Okay. After that, from next two terms, what can we take common? I can take common f of a1, a2 and so on n. But see, I will take minus sign also common. I am taking minus sign f of a1, a2 and so on n. Okay. In bracket, I should write this one minus this one. But see, we have taken minus sign common. So sign will get changed. This will have minus sign. This will have plus sign. So that's why I am writing this one first. G of a1 and so on ai plus h and so on n minus it has a minus sign now, g of a1 and so on n. Okay, finish. Divided by, as I told you earlier, I am going to apply limit separately. So therefore limit h tends to 0 g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n into g of a1, a2 and so on n. Okay, let me remove this part. It is not required. We have used it now and we have got this step. Okay, so let us continue. So this is equal to limit h tends to 0. See, 1 by h we are going to take product with this bracket. So 1 by h into first term minus 1 by h into second term. So that means 1 by h will be denominator of this two. So therefore g of, getting a g of, this is nothing but a1, a2 and that is nothing but f of a1 and so on ai plus h and so on n minus f of a1 and so on n divided by h. So we have multiplied this bracket by this 1 by h. Similarly, we have to multiply this bracket by 1 by h minus, this is nothing but f of a, right? F of a, g of a1, a2 and so on ai plus h and so on n minus g of a1, a2 and so on n divided by h whole divided by, let us see what will happen in denominator. If I apply the limit h tends to 0, here I have to put h is equal to 0, getting. So that means what will we have? G of a1, a2 and so on n, and this is constant, no? So there is no in h, a1, a2 and so on n. So this thing we have, getting. So sorry to say, but there is no more space. So you have to make a screenshot again and then we'll go further. Okay, so let us apply limit separately. G of A is a constant. G of A into limit h tends to 0. I am applying limit h tends to 0. F of a1 and so on, ai plus h and so on, n minus f of a1 and so on, n divided by h, okay, minus f of a, minus f of a into f of a into, I have to apply limit to this bracket also, limit h tends to 0 g of a1 and so on, ai plus h and so on, n minus g of a1 and so on, n divided by h, okay. And denominator, in denominator what we are getting, so this is g of a and this is also g of a, both of them are same, so that's why I can write g of a square. Okay, let me remove this part, it is not required, and after that we will continue. Just a minute, let me remove this part. Okay, so it is clear now. This is equal to g of a. You remember the equation number 1, it says its value is nothing but partial derivative of f with respect to xi. We know it's a definition, getting now? So this is dabba f by dabba xi of a minus f of a, and this is nothing but partial derivative of g with respect to xi, dabba g by dabba xi of a divided by g of a square, correct? And yeah, so therefore we conclude finally what we have to prove, same thing we have to prove. So therefore we started with what? We started with partial derivative of f upon g of a, and finally we have got this one. So this is g of a, that means denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator upon square of denominator. That means we have got our regular formula which we have already studied in 12th standard, but this is for partial derivatives, and whatever we have proved, that is true for all I running from 1 to n. So in this way we have completed proof of this theorem. You can make a screenshot of it, and after that we will stop. Thank you. Bye bye.